Welcome to the Rise of the Trades podcast, the show dedicated to helping you to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business. All rise for your host, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to this week's coaching episode of the Rise of the Trades podcast, where we help trades and construction business owners to skyrocket leads, explode net profits without having to graft 60 hours a week and becoming that busy fool. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to build a personal brand that attracts quality leads on a daily basis in just 3 simple steps. But before we go there, I'd just like to remind you that if you haven't already joined our Growth Club, what are you waiting for? Inside our Growth Club right now, we've got a thriving community of professional tradespeople that are asking questions and getting their questions answered, as well as attending weekly live marketing and business coaching from myself and our partners, and getting access to pre-recorded courses on every area of your trades and construction business so you can build, grow, and even sell your business. And the beauty about this is you can join today for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks or Costa, or the cost of a tube of silicon. So what are you waiting for? Transform your business and your life by joining our Growth Club. Click the link in and around the show notes and the description of this episode and come and join us and get instant access. Now let's transition over to this week's coaching episode. For the last 15 years, and yes, I said it, 15 years, there's been a new way of being able to market your business in a more authoritative way. A way in which your business can stand out from all of the competition that's in and around your area, leading you to generating more vetted leads coming into your business that allow you to grow and scale your business and ultimately make more profit. But here we are 15 years later, and there are still the vast majority of trades business owners that have not taken advantage of this form of marketing. And what I mean by this form of marketing is you. Literally you. You as a personal brand. Now, what I mean by this is what we have to remember in our industry that's, come on, let's face it, it's stereotypically tarred with we're all cowboys, we're all rogue traders, and therefore we've got to break that barrier down. And how we break that barrier down is by us personally being out there in this digital marketing world, building the 4 emotional triggers that I always teach and talk about when it comes to marketing and building brand authority, which are these 4 emotional triggers. So first of all, I want you to write these 4 things down. And if you listen to my podcast, if you're a member of my Growth Club or Inner Circle, you'll know what these are because they're tattooed now inside your subconscious mind. They are that important. So trigger number 1 is the word know, K-N-O-W. In other words, we've got to get more people to know that your business exists, because you could be the best electrician, plumber, joiner, builder, plasterer, tiler in your area. But if not enough people know that you exist, then you're not going to win the business, are you? The second word I want you to write down is the word like. We've got to get more people to like you. You, the business owner. Not your business, you. Because people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So the more people we can get to like you, the more you're going to sell. The third emotional trigger is the word trust. How can we get people in an industry that don't trust us deep down to actually start to trust us. And we do that by you building your social proof that you can solve the problems, that your target market have got, right? And in doing so, we build the word trust. And once people get to know you and they get to like you and they get to trust you, then that equals the fourth emotional marketing trigger, which is the word confidence. So write that down. And when we've built up enough confidence in the content that we are creating and putting out there for our target market, as soon as we hit the emotional trigger of confidence, that equals a new lead, because the customer's got to know you, they've got to like you, they now trust you, so they've now got confidence in you and your business and your skill set and your ability that you can solve the problem that they want solving. Therefore, they'll contact you. Might be a phone call, might be an email, might be through your website, your landing pages, your funnels, could be a chatbot on your website. Doesn't matter how they contact you, but when they contact you, they've done it because you've hit the emotional trigger of confidence. Now, the easiest way to hit those four emotional triggers is by you building a personal brand across all of your marketing to build that authority that your competitors aren't doing, so that you can start to clear up and own the market in your local town or city. And the first thing we've got to remember is this: nobody's buying from your logo or your business name initially. Let me explain. I'm not saying that your company name and your branding and your logo and your fonts and your colours and your typography, I'm not saying your brand's not important. Of course it is. And as you know, we rebrand businesses within the Trades Freedom Club. We do lots of rebrands for our members. It's mega important. But what we have to understand is there's a step before that. And that step before that has been born out of the digital age that we're now living in, where people every day, your target market, are on, let's say, social media platforms, for instance. I bet there's not a day or a week go by where they're not watching videos, right? That's just the way in which the world's evolved over the last 15 years. So, if you're not out there on social media, if you're not vlogging, if you're not shooting videos for TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Reels, then obviously people can't get to know you. And when they do see the content on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, or when they do see a video of you, it's not your logo that's talking on those videos. It's not your logo on your personal Facebook page. It's not your logo on LinkedIn, is it? It's you. So the step before the branding, the logo, is your personal brand, because that's the first thing they're going to see, and then that's going to attract them then to your business, and that's where the logo and the branding kicks in. So now we know this, does it not make sense that that personal brand, you, that they see to start off with, that starts the customer journey, does it not make sense to get that out to more people and get it more professional? So therefore we can attract more people to us. When they come to us, they get to know us, they get to like us, they get to trust us, they've got confidence in us. And then what they do is they go and check out our business, which is where the business brand and the logos come into it. Think about it. When you pull up outside someone's house or commercial premises to go and do a survey, right? You pull up in your van, but when you get out your van, it's not your logo that's walking up to Mrs. Jones's door, or it's not your logo that's walking into that commercial building. It's you. You're the people or the person that people are buying from. They're not buying from your logo, they're buying from you. So if we can get to a point where people feel like they already know us, they already like us, they already trust us before they've even met us, then we're one step closer to that sale before we've even started, aren't we? I mean, come on. Let's be honest. This podcast, it's still my personal brand. It's still Craig Wilkinson that's doing this podcast now. And even though you can't see me, and even though you might be listening to all my podcasts every Wednesday morning when they drop at 7 a.m, you might not even know what I look like, but you're listening to me. And by me putting my personal brand out there, in this case, it's just literally my voice, I'm still building the know. You're getting to know me. You're getting to know what my businesses do. If you keep coming back to this podcast episode, you must like me and you must trust me. And at some point, just from listening to these podcast episodes, you might get to a point in your business where you need help and support with your marketing or to grow your business. And therefore, you might come and join our, let's say, growth club as an example. I've built up know, like and trust and confidence through the content that I'm putting out there. And right now, you can only hear my voice. And we know this works. Just from this podcast, from the amount of people that join our growth club, just from listening to this podcast. Never mind all the videos and the reels and the blogs and the lead magnets and the landing pages and the websites and everything else that we build where my personal brand is on it. So this works. And for the businesses that understand this and start putting themselves on their branding, you will start to see more leads coming into your business. But for the people that don't, because I don't like how I look on camera, Craig. You know, I'm not the best looking lad in the world or the best looking woman in the world, right? Neither am I, right? I've got a big nose and I've got chipped teeth and I've got a beard now that's going grey. I'm not the best looking lad in the world, but it don't stop me from doing videos to help build my brand, to help build my business and provide me and my family with a lifestyle that we want and deserve. Craig, I don't like the way I sound. Listen, I don't like the way I sound. I've got a dumb Northern Yorkshire accent. But again, it still doesn't stop me. Yeah, but Craig, if I start doing videos and podcasts and putting photos out and me on them photos, my friends, my family, my mates, they're going to rip the piss. Right, let them rip the piss, because once they've done it once, they'll stop doing it. Or if they're people like that are going to rinse you, what are you doing hanging around with them in the first place? Get rid of them off your socials. So all this, I'm not confident. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. You know, it's okay for you, Craig. You know, you're confident in doing this. Listen, I first did my YouTube video that I added to a YouTube channel way back on the 26th of October, 2010. That's 15 years ago. 15 years ago, me as a joiner, I'm on this thing called YouTube recording videos 15 years ago because I understood the power of personal branding and it worked. But in today's day and age, where it's even easier now to build a personal brand than ever before, the vast majority of trades business owners aren't doing it because of this bullshit excuse of, I don't want to do it, I don't like it. Well, listen, you've got to think of the younger generation in particular that's coming through. You know, you look at one of my daughters as 18-year-old, right? And they live on their phones. My 13-year-old daughter, she lives on her phone. These people, this younger generation coming through, they don't look on Google. They don't do a Google search in today's day and age to find a plumber in Sheffield. They go to TikTok. They go to YouTube. They go to the places digitally where they can find content. And my daughters are going to be your future potential customers. I was doing this 15 years ago, yet still today people aren't doing it, and I just do not understand why you're not doing it. So we've got to remove this barrier of, you know, I'm fearful of doing it. What are other people going to think of me? You know, I don't like the way I look, sound, all that. I ain't got the confidence to do it. Well, listen, you are now putting obstacles and barriers in your own business and in your own future. Because there are people out there now, more than ever, The shift is happening more than ever. There's more and more people understanding that their personal brand's important. And let's face it, I reckon if you're listening to me now and you're on things like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, I bet there's certain, let's call them influencers, if you like, that you're watching and listening to and consuming content who are the exact same trade as you. I mean, how crazy is that? You're watching competitors' videos. And if you're watching competitors' videos, I can guarantee that there will be your target market in your local area watching their videos too, and they're winning the business. You're even watching your competitors. What I'm saying is, why aren't you doing what your competitors are doing and what I've been doing for the last 15 years? So in the remainder of this podcast, I'm going to take you through 2 more chapters. The first chapter is all around you understanding the 5 huge benefits that you've got of creating a personal brand. Now, I'm not saying you've got to become an influencer. I am not saying that you have got to have 1 million followers. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, if you can build up know, like, trust and confidence and people get to know, like and trust you before they've even met you, then you're one step further forward. But there's 5 big benefits that I look at about building a personal brand, because it's not just about generating leads. There's a lot more to it than that. So number 1, I'm going to take you through those 5 benefits. Then in the next chapter, I'm going to take you through the 3 steps that you need to start focusing on to build that personal brand. Because what we're not going to do is just randomly start putting random stuff out there without a strategy and without a plan. So I'm going to give you the 3 steps that's going to form part of the action plan of what you need to start to put together to start to build your brand that will elevate your professionalism, elevate your authority with your target market. So grab your notepads, grab your pens, and let's get stuck in. So here are the 5 benefits and the 5 advantages to you as a business on building a personal brand. Number 1, I want you to write down, people buy from people. We've just established in the previous chapter how important it is that you get this personal branding out there, right? In the trades industry, in the trades world, trust is absolutely everything. If people don't trust you, right, they're never going to leave you an inquiry. Go back to them 4 emotional triggers that I've just covered. Know, like, trust, and confidence, right? Think of this. People might know you. People might like you. But if they don't trust you, they're never going to buy from you, right? So this is why trust is a massive factor. And if we can build enough of that trust into our content that we're going to start to create, then people are then going to start to hit that 4th trigger, which is confidence, start to leave inquiries and leads with us. When customers see a real face, hear a real story, and get to know you, it instantly builds credibility and likability. A strong personal brand makes people feel like they already know you, like you, and trust you before they've even picked up the phone. So it cuts down on cold leads and time wasters and tire kickers. They already want to work with you before you've even given them a quote. And this is what I call creating pre-sold, ready-to-buy customers. You see, once I've built my personal brand, like I have done, and creating content like this podcast and my videos and everything else that I create, people already have bought into me. They've bought into Craig Wilkinson. And therefore, sometimes, maybe when I'm having a Zoom with somebody, they're like, Craig, listen, I just want to join in a circle. You don't have to sell it to me, right? I know how you work. I've listened to all your podcasts. I want those results. Where do I sign up, right? But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I weren't putting myself out there. So number 1, people buy from people. Number 2, I want you to write down, stand out from the crowd. Stand out from the crowd. For everybody who knows me and gets coached by me, I'm always saying, what makes you different to the other electrician or the other scaffolder or the other renderer or the other landscaper? What makes you different? Because in today's day and age, most trades business owners are doing the same crappy type of marketing. So therefore, because everybody's doing the same type of marketing, nobody's standing out for the right reasons. So the trades industry is full of sparkies. Wherever you're working now, whatever trade you're in, I guarantee within a 10-mile radius of where you're sat listening to this episode now, there will be 20 sparkies within a 10-mile radius, right? So what makes you stand out? What makes you different to everyone else? And what that is building your personal brand. Your story, your values, your standards, your morals, your beliefs, how you do business. When you start showing up online consistently and sharing all this, you stop being a commodity, you stop being the same as everybody else, and therefore the customer is going to choose you based on price. You start building that authority and that distance between you and those other 10 sparkies within a 10-mile radius. You put a gap between you, and therefore people aren't buying on price anymore. They're buying on your story, your values, your standards, your morals, your beliefs. They're buying on how you do business because they've got to know you. They've got a relationship with you. Whereas the other ones, they haven't. They don't know who they are. They've got no pictures of them on the team or the team on the website. They've got no videos out there. There's no personal branding out there. They're not on the cover images on their Facebook or LinkedIn profile banner images. They're not on them. So they're a faceless company. And the consumer or the customer or client doesn't know who's turning up until they knock on that door to do the survey. So they're a stranger. But when you do everything that I'm going to share with you in this episode, people already get to know you. They know who's knocking on the door because they've seen your 5 videos. They've seen you on your social media profile pictures. They've seen you on your banner images. They know you. Are you with me? So that's how we start to stand out and put a gap between us and our competitors. Number 3, you'll generate quality leads on autopilot. Write it down. You'll generate quality leads on autopilot. When you've built a personal brand, customers and even other businesses will start referring you because they trust your name personally and not just your business. So therefore, word of mouth kicks in, your referral strategy kicks in, you'll start to attract better customers, better clients, higher paying jobs and fewer time wasters and tire kickers because your brand has already done the heavy lifting for you. And plus, did you know that social media algorithms that are in charge of pushing and showing your content out to more people, they love personal branded content over boring ads or boring sales posts. So from a lead generation point of view, the more you are doing your personal brand and your videos across your social media platforms, the more the algorithm's going to push your content out there, which means they're pushing you out to more people. And this is why video marketing is the most powerful form of marketing known to mankind. And the reason why I got into video marketing 15 years ago, right? Because when you shoot a video, it's not your logo talking on that video, is it? It's you. People can get to know, like and trust you. They can build confidence up in you. You can get passion into that video. You can explain yourself in that video. You can show examples of work you do inside that video. People can look into the whites of your eyes and get to really know who you are in that video, which is why video marketing has exploded and why TikTok and Instagram and Facebook followed and YouTube are the biggest platforms on the planet because they're video related platforms. And the algorithms are going to support and push videos out to more people than what a standard boring poll would do or a boosted post that you pay 10 quid for on Facebook. All that lot is like old school marketing. That's got to stop. Number 4, write this down. It makes recruiting and building your team easier. Now, we know that there is a massive lack of highly skilled, trustworthy, reliable, honest, conscientious trades out there. It's just the way in which it's gone on it, right? They've killed off apprenticeships 20 years ago, and now we're feeling the negative effects of that. So trying to find skilled trades in today's day and age is, I think it's harder than it's ever been before. So again, what makes you different to everybody else? Because right now out there are good, skilled tradesmen and women that you could employ. The challenge is they're working for other people. So how can you get to showcase your business to other people and get them to turn their heads and go, oh, hang on a minute. I like the jobs that they work on. Actually, I like the person who's doing the video. Again, they're getting to know, like, trust, and have confidence in you. It's like, do you know what? I like their content. I like the jobs. I like them. Yeah. They've already explained on videos about their mission and the values and the culture within their business. I don't get any of that working for the guy that I'm working for right now. He treats me like shit, right? So what starts to happen is your content that's pushed out there, other people that do what you do and the trades that you want to bring into your business, they'll start to see it. And all of a sudden it's like, do you know what? I'd love to go and work for them. So what we start to do is we start to turn people's heads. And recruiting becomes so much easier because then when you put adverts out there or you do a video explaining that you are looking to recruit another joiner, another plasterer, or the bricky or whatever it is, the people out there that's been watching your content all of a sudden go, do you know what? I'm going to ring them. Or it might not even be the trade that they're advertising for. A joiner might ring. You might be after a plasterer and a joiner might ring you and go, look, have you got any jobs? You know, I love your content. I love seeing what you do. Have you got anything available? Have you got any starts? Are you with me? So it stops you being just another boss and helps you become a leader people want to follow. Number 5, write down, it opens up a whole new world of opportunities. It opens up a whole new world of opportunities. Because when you build a personal brand, your personal brand then isn't just tied to that one business that you've got or that one business name. Think about it. If you sell your business and then you set up another business, people are going to follow you over to that other business. Why? Because you've got a personal brand. They know, like, trust, and have got confidence in you. And if they've got that in you, whatever you move over to or whatever you start up or whatever maybe other products or services you bought onto your existing business, when you start to see a new opportunity and you've got that personal brand, people will start to follow you. Your personal brand goes with you. Just look at me as an example. Recently, I've set up and invested into 2 software companies. And I talk about them software companies on this podcast. They're completely separate businesses. They're 2 different businesses. They're nothing to do with Trades Freedom Club. But because my personal brand is associated with Leadzilla and ServiceMate, which are the 2 software companies that we've set up and invested into, because I've done that and I talk about them and people know, like, and trust me, then what happens? People are now using Leadzilla, which is a separate business. They're now starting to use ServiceMate through our business, Flow State, right? So because I'm associated with those businesses, people will start to follow me. Let me give you an example. What are other things that all trades business owners need? I don't know, maybe insurance. You all need insurance, right? Or an accountant. You all need an accountant. So if I went and set up an accountancy practice or an insurance company, and on this podcast, where you can't even see my face, you're only listening to my voice, if I started saying, oh, listen, I've set up an accountancy practice and now we're going to look after, people's trades, men and women's accounts, or we can sort you out with your insurance, I'm pretty sure that within a week of me mentioning this, we'd have customers coming to us immediately. Why? Because of me, Craig Wilkinson, the personal brand, the know, like, trust and confidence that I've built up with my existing members or customers or clients or whatever we want to call everybody. People will follow me. So it starts to build opportunities where you can take the audience that you're building and you can move them over to maybe another business. Now, I'm not saying to you that you've got to go and set up another business, but I know for sure, particularly my inner circle members, by the time they get to the end of the 12-month coaching program with me, half of them, at least 50%, have set up another business and are now taking the knowledge that I've taught them over that 12-month and dropping that into another business. And now they're getting customers to follow them from their existing business to the new one. Why? Because they've already built the personal branding with them. So when you start to look at these 5 different benefits, it's not just, oh, I need to shoot a video because I need more leads. These 5 benefits all tie together. And I talk about something called the compound effect, which is where you make small little changes in your business or your life, and you don't see massive results overnight because there's small little changes. I don't know, it might be, I'm going to work on them 16 features that Craig talks about that he needs to build onto a website. And you start working on that. And then you say, I'm going to start working on my personal branding. And then you start working on that. And then you might say, actually, when it comes to branding, and I've listened to Craig's episode on rebrands, I might actually look at a rebrand. So now you're working on 3 different things. You're not going to see an instant result overnight. But once you've got your rebrand done, and we've created and done your rebrand for you, and you've worked on your personal branding, and then you get all this lot put onto your website where you've been working on adding the 16 fundamental features onto your website, all of a sudden, boom, that compound effect kicks in, and then you start to get results. In other words, now you're going to start to generate more leads. Now, I've just mentioned on the fly there 2 podcast episodes that you might want to go and listen to. So if you want to write these down, if you've ever thought that your branding is not quite right, whether that is your business brand, your name, your fonts, your colours looks a bit outdated because it's, you set your business up X amount of years ago, but your business has grown, but your branding's not grown with it. And now you've got a disconnect between your cheap brand and where you're heading, or your personal brand that we're talking about now, or how do you connect your personal brand to your business brand? That bit in the middle is what we call building your brand authority. I want you to go and check out and listen to a very powerful and arguably one of the most popular podcast episodes I've released. And that is episode number 20. So go and check out episode 20. And then I've also mentioned just then that there are 16 fundamental killer features that you've got to get on your website if you're going to turn it into an inquiry generating machine. So if you want to know what them 16 features are, go and check out episode number 16. So now you can actually hear and see all of the benefits, what we're going to be covering off in the next chapter is the 3-step action plan that I want you to go away and start to build to create your personal branding. Now, it's great that you're taking this on board, and usually once I've, covered these 5 benefits, people might say, oh, brilliant, Craig, I'm just going to start shooting, videos, and I'm going to get myself on photos. I'm just going to get out there everywhere. I want you to do that, but like everything that I have and do, there has to be a strategy for it. We can't just wing it and randomly start putting content out there, can we? So what I want to share with you in this chapter are the 3 steps that you need to follow to pull together a personal brand. And I've helped thousands, literally thousands of trades, business owners pull the personal brand together using these 3 steps. And it's the same 3 steps that I use. And as I'm going through these, I'm going to drop some examples in to show you how I lead by example and how I'm actually doing this myself. And if you're watching my content, listening to my content, part of our Growth Club, in a circle, you'll understand and you'll see this as we go through it. Now, if you're driving around in your van right now, or you're working on tools or whatever you're doing and you're listening to this next section, you're probably going to have to listen to when you sat down again with a notepad and pen or your tablet with you. Because I'm going to give you the 3 steps, but in each of the 3 steps, I'm going to break it down into more steps. Are you with me? So great if you're listening to this now and you're leveraging your time, but to really get the full benefit out of this particular chapter, I'm going to suggest that you sit down in a quiet room with a tablet, notepad and pen and make a note of everything that I'm going to share with you now, because this collectively is the strategy that I want you to start to pull together and use. And guess what? It's not even difficult, all right? So let's start off with step number 1. The first thing I want you to do is write this down. Define your story, your values, and your message. Let me say it again. Define your personal story, your personal values, and your personal message. And what I mean by this is, I have so many people coming up to me and going, do you know what, Craig? I know you, like you, and trust you because of your story. How you went from being that busy fool joiner, working 80, 90 hours a week, stressed out to max, robbing Peter to pay Paul, building a big team, not understanding your numbers in your business, not having the right systems, hitting rock bottom, right? I'm there. I can feel it myself because I'm there, because I'm relatable, because I share my story. I share my journey, and it's not a journey of failure. It's a journey of, for the first 12 years of me running a business, I was winging it and I didn't realise there were all these strategies. I just thought growing a successful trades business where the more work I took on, the more lads I had working for me, the more vans I had on the road, the more jobs I were running, the more money I'd make. And that's not how it works, right? So I share my story, my experience a lot, right? On top of that, I also share my values and my morals and my standards and my beliefs, because I think it's important that people understand the reasoning behind what I do. And a great example of that actually was Thursday evening. I did a session for our Growth Club members, a live coaching session. It was all around referral strategies, right? And helping them put together their own referral strategy to generate more leads. So what did I do on Thursday night? I came up with the ultimate referral strategy for us to give back. And I said to all our members, right, the investment that you pay for your membership every single month to become a member of our Growth Club, which again is less than a tube of silicon a day, what I want to do is I want to give you a referral strategy. And I believe, and my morals, values and standards are, because we're all in this together, and the idea behind the Trades Hub is we all help and support each other, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 40% of that membership back. And people were like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to give it you back as a referral strategy. So in other words, for every person that you get to join the Growth Club, I'm going to give you 40% of that person you've referred. I want you to have that investment just as a thank you for referring them. And they're like, oh, that's really kind. I says, I'll tell you what, I'll even do it even better. Instead of just giving you 40% of their referral for that 1 month, how about I give it you forever? Whatever that member's a month, I'm prepared to give you 40%. And people are like, really? Seriously? I'm like, yeah, because we're in it together. They're my values. Are you with me? And things like your mission and your promise. Our mission, if you've been listening to me and you come on my training sessions, you'll know what my mission is. And my mission is to get the Trades Freedom Club to help 1 million tradesmen and women around the world to achieve time and financial freedom. That's our mission. Are you with me? So I talk about it and I share this with people because it's important that you define your story, define your values and your morals and your standards and your beliefs. And that as a message needs to be put out there. Are you with me? Because that's what people buy into. So here's what I want you to do. When I said I was going to break these down into other sections, here's what I want you to do. Step 1 is defining your story, values and message. But within that, I want you to break it down to this. Number 1, your story. Your story. And what I mean by your story is you're going to create content around the following things. Write this down. How did you get into your trade in the first place? I want you to create content around that. What struggles have you been through? Whether that's in business or life. I'm always sharing the challenges that I've been through because it's relatable to other people. Next up, what's your experience within the trade that you've got? Next one, why did you start your own business in the first place? The next one, what qualifications have you got to reassure your target market that you're an expert? So when we start to talk about these areas, right, we're starting to build up a story of how we got in the trade, what struggles we've experienced, then what our experience is. Why did we start the business in the first place? What's the passion and the driver? And what qualifications have you got? All that lot is your story. So straight away there's 6 pieces of content that you can start to create just around your story. And if you just did a video talking about each one of them 6 things, you got 6 pieces of powerful content that you can keep reposting every couple of months that's reaffirming your story. So number 1 is your story. Number 2, write this down, what are your values, your morals, your standards, and your beliefs, right? What do you believe in as a tradesperson and as a business owner, right? So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what do you believe in as a tradesperson and as a business owner? The next one, do you believe in things such as honesty, quality over speed? Maybe a family-run business. Maybe you love supporting local trades or other businesses. You know, what is it that you believe in? What are your values that are going to make your customers choose you over cheaper competitors? So when we start to look at the values, the morals, the standards, the beliefs that you've got that you personally have got around your business as a tradesperson, as a business owner, your honesty, your integrity, or your authenticity, all that lot needs wrapping up into content. Because if people believe in you and they see the value in you and they see the honesty in you and they see the trust in you by the content you're creating, that starts to appeal to people. The next one, number 3, is what is your mission or your big promise? Let me say that again. Is what is your mission or your big promise? I've already alluded to one of our big promises, and our mission is to help 1 million trades business owners achieve time and financial freedom. That is the mission. That is the point of doing all this, right? But what's yours as an individual? What's yours as a business? So what I want you to think about when it comes down to your mission and your promise is, what do you want to be known for, right? What do you want to be known for as a person and as a business? Now, to give you some examples, this could be something like, is it being the cleanest, most reliable plumber or sparky or joiner in town? Is it changing the negative culture of the trades industry? Is it about helping the younger generation and you're going to be investing into things like apprentices to bring the younger generation through and help do your bit? Is it about giving customers peace of mind and a stress-free service and a 5-star seamless customer service and journey? What is your mission? What is the big promises that you can talk about and share in your content? Now, once you've defined your story, your values, and your mission and your big promise, and let's face it, if you were to sit down and put pen to paper and listen to this back again and listen to those questions I've just put to you, there's 20 different types of content that you could create there. There's 20 different videos, 20 different blog articles, 20 different social media posts, 20 pieces of content to put on your website, 20 pieces of content that you can train your team up to be saying and speaking to customers and reinforcing this across everything that you do. Are you with me? This is your foundation. You can't build a brand without knowing what it all stands for in the first place. Are you with me? So if you listen to my content, you'll know that within my content, I'm always talking about my story and my journey. Where did I start off? What are the struggles that I've experienced? You'll hear that in all my content. You'll see it. The values, the morals, the standards, the high standards that I have. It's not just the high standards that I have. My team have to hit them high standards. Remember, when you start to build a team, your team have got what I call the rules of the game. And they've got to abide by your values, morals, standards, beliefs, right? Because if they bring their own to the business and you've got 5 people that you're employing, they've all got 5 different values, 5 different sets of morals and standards and beliefs. And if they're not aligned with yours, then your business becomes a bit of a mess. Because there's the promise and the marketing message that's out there is completely mixed. And again, the mission, you know what one of my missions is? My big promise is to get 1 million people time and financial freedom. So you'll hear me and see me doing this myself, right? Creating that content, it's exactly what you need to do. So get to work, right? First of all, on step number 1, which is define your story, your values, and your message. Step number 2 is called start showing up online and create the right type of content. You see, once you know who you are and what you stand for, which is step number 1, you need to start putting yourself out there on a consistent daily, and I mean this, on a daily basis. But here's the key. You don't just want to be putting random content out to random people at random times. You know the one, and I talk about this all the time. You know, plumbers will always put photographs of a boiler that they've just fitted out on social media. And I get that because you need to make people aware that you fit boilers. So go back to know, like, trust and confidence. People need to know that you fit boilers, but come on. I keep saying, unless you're a plumbing and heating engineer, how unsexy is seeing a white box on a wall, right? It's really unsexy. I get it, but you've got to stop posting content like that all the time because you're turning people off, not turning people on. So your content needs to do one of 4 things, right? Write this down. It's got to build trust. It's got to educate people. It's got to entertain people. And it's got to inspire people. So that's build trust, educate, entertain, or inspire. And it's those 4 pieces of content that we're going to focus on now. So I'm going to give you the top 6 types of posts or videos or blog articles, reels, right? Content that you need to start to create so you're not just putting content out there every other day that's the equivalent of a white boiler on a wall, all right? So write these down. I'm going to go through the 6. I'm going to give you an example of each 6. Number 1 is behind the scenes content. Behind the scenes. So showing your team working, how you approach jobs, how you keep your customers or your clients' home or businesses clean and tidy, how you've come across a problem that were unforeseen, but how you get over that problem. Document and show all this type of behind the scenes content because that is what's part of educating people and entertaining people because they can start to see what you're doing behind the scenes and they can start to see that you fit boilers. You're actually showing a boiler being fitted on the wall. Are you with me? Or a picture of a boiler on the wall because you're doing a behind the scenes. And a shout out to my Inner Circle member, actually, Christian Baines, because Christian, I had a chat with Christian this week about his content because we look after his content for him. And his business is called Incognito Systems. He does CCTV and security. Go and check his website out that we've built. And Christian's content, we've made a slight change to this week because Christian wants to go down more of the commercial route because he's getting some really, really big, proper big contracts in. So we're shifting our attention away from domestic to more commercial. And I said to Christian this week, you know what you want to do? You know, you've got lovely officers, you've got staff in your offices. You need to just get your phone out and, you know, take a video of you walking up your stairs and into office. Good morning, everybody. Showing your job board and where people are working all over the country, because that's like behind the scenes. And if any of your team are there, you know, get your team on camera and say, oh, morning, this is Fred and Fred does this. Fred, just explain to everyone what you do, right? Get people involved because that is educational. And it's actually showing and demonstrating that Christian does CCTV without him having to sell it and show an alarm box fitted on a wall. Are you with me? So behind the scenes content is crucial. Number 2, customer testimonials and results. I am absolutely nuts and mad and crazy on getting social proof. We've got more video testimonials than I know any other business has got. We've got, from memory, we've got over 300 video testimonials of our members saying how we've built, grown and scaled the businesses and completely transformed the businesses and their lives, right? You've got to get your happy customers telling the world how clean, tidy, on time, reliable, on budget that you are. And this is the challenge and problem I had before I started working with X company. But since working with them and they've worked on my home or my property, this is the result I'm now left with. In other words, they've solved the problem by doing this. When you get your customers telling the world how amazing you are as a business, we start to turn our customers into a sales team. So we don't have to start to sell anything because the social proof and the trust building that you can solve people's problems is done and shared by your happy customers. So you've got to start getting video testimonials off your customers, or pulling your phone out while you stood at side room and just going, "Oh, Mrs. Jones, just share with us, what were the challenges that you had and why did you call us?" "Oh, well, it were because of this, and this." "Right, and what have we now done for you?" "Oh, you've done this, and this." And then you walk round showing them the end result. We've got to get more customer testimonials, particularly videos. Number 3 is personal type of content and your story content. So step number 1, where we've talked about defining your story, your values and your messaging, it's that type of content that we're going to start to pull in. So share your journey, why you started your business, some of the challenges that you've faced, but how you've started to overcome them, the lessons that you've learned in X amount of years being in business. All that type of content is what people want to see. 10 years ago, I set up my business and, I bought a rusty red transit van for £300 and I had no idea how I was going to grow this business. But here I am 10 years later and we've got these beautiful offices and we've got 5 vans on the road and we've got an amazing team behind us. And I want to say a massive thank you to all of our happy customers that have helped us get here. And we're looking forward to servicing you and continuing this relationship with you for the next 10 years. I mean, I've just come up with that literally off the top of my head. But when you think about what I've just said and you break that down, what have I just said? You've been in business 10 years. So it's longevity. You've not been at it 5 minutes. You started off here with a 300, 500 quid rusty red transit van, but now you've moved into offices and you've got these vans on road, which spells success, which means you must know what you're doing. You must be good at your job to have achieved that. And now you've got a brilliant team behind you. So now you're bringing the emphasis over to your team and how your team's fantastic and the customer service and the 5-star reviews that our team get. Well, that's telling your future customers that you've got a great team that's going to respect their property because you've got that, because they're getting that many 5-star reviews, and you're thanking your customers for helping you get to there. And now you're starting to say you're looking forward to servicing your future customers. I mean, look at what I've just said in 20 seconds? So all that personal content and your story, you've got to start wrapping into it. Content number 4 is what I call educational content and sharing your knowledge and tips. You see, if we're going to be positioned as an expert, we've got to demonstrate and show people that we are an expert by sharing valuable knowledge, advice, content, tips of what it is that we do. So if you're a roofer, for example, you could be on roof saying, right, this is a valley, typically found on a 3-bed semi. And what we could do is I'm going to show you how we're going to lay the valley boards and how we're going to put the lead flashing in and how we're going to make sure that this valley is all neat and tidy and how we cut the tiles or cut the slates into the valley as an example. It could be, I'm a joiner. Right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to hang this door so you've got a 2-pen piece gap all the way around the door so it fits nice and snug. You could be an electrician. You could say, listen, I'm going to share with you how we fit our EV charging points and why we fit this particular brand and this particular model. And you've got to make sure that you've got, this and that and this. Just sharing knowledge, Because when you start to share these types of how-to videos, then people start to see you as an expert, right? So it could be anything. It could be, I'm just going to come off with some off at the top of my head, by the way, because I've done this a million times. You could do 3 things you need to know before getting your roof replaced. The top 10 mistakes customers make when choosing a new kitchen. Why you should always have your boiler service before winter. Are you with me? So if we start to put this content together, it's great content to share, and it's building that education, building that authority, but more importantly, it's building your personal brand. Content number 5, entertaining content. And you'll watch entertaining content yourself on TikTok and Instagram, and you'll be watching other trades, businesses, entertaining content. So, listen, we don't want to be doing anything stupid, do we? I mean, I see some really stupid things happening, where you're putting your apprentices in wheelbarrows and having a race down the road. I mean, how unprofessional does that look? Yeah, it's funny. Or you've seen the ones where you get your apprentice to lift a bag of plaster above their head, and then somebody goes behind them and slits bag of plaster, and plaster goes over apprentice. There's certain things that are funny, but you're just not going to do because it's just not professional, right? But sharing real, raw, unfiltered side of growing a business, or the funny site banter, or the bad cup of tea that you've been served, or the dodgy DIY attempt that you've had to fix because the customers tried to do it. And are you with me? A day in the life of a joiner, a day in the life of a growing trades business owner. All that type of entertaining content doesn't have to be polished, because it's just entertaining. But remember, we don't want to push the boundaries too much, whereby we're looking unprofessional. And again, listen, this is just my personal opinion. Something popped up on TikTok with me the other day, and it were joiners, actually. It were 3 joiners working on a commercial job. So they got the high-vis vests on, they got the boots, they got the helmets on and everything else, safety helmets. But they were dancing, right? Like the old school TikTok dancing when TikTok first came on the scene. And they're on this job and they're doing this dance and they're all laughing and joking. And you might look at that and go, well, hang on a minute, what's wrong with that? They're not saying anything, they're not doing anything, they're just dancing. But I'd be looking at that as a client, bearing in mind on the high-vis vests, the branded logo of either their subcontractor they were working for, or maybe it was their business, was on. I'd be like, hang on a minute, what am I paying people to do? Am I paying them to come to work and dance and be TikTok famous? Or am I paying these joiners to actually crack on with second fix? Are you with me? So there's a fine line between entertainment and taking it too far that makes you either, 1, look unprofessional, or 2, where a customer might think, well, hang on a minute, if I get these joiners in to build my extension, are they going to be doing TikTok videos in my house, in my extension, showing my house and my property, when I should be paying them to build me an extension? Are you with me? That's all I'm saying. But entertaining content with a light little bit of fun and twist to it is absolutely fine, because it just makes you relatable. Content number 6 is your opinion content. And what you've got to do is you've got to be brave enough to share your thoughts on a specific topic to do with your industry. Now, disclaimer, I am not saying your opinion on things such as politics, race, religion, gender, and all that. I am not saying that. You do not talk about that on social media, full stop. The reason why is everybody's got different opinions. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. And if you put something on around, let's say, politics, which is topic of conversation at the minute, isn't it? If you put your strong opinion on about politics, for everyone that agrees with you, there's going to be somebody that disagrees with you. Now what's happened is you've you've left a nasty taste of your personal brand in that person's mouth. We do not have opinions on social media when you're running a business because you're going to turn people off. It's just general rule. What I am saying is you've got to be brave enough to share your thoughts around your trade or your industry, right? So, for example, here's why too many tradespeople are undercharging, perhaps, and therefore undercutting our businesses that are established, that have got overheads, or people that aren't VAT registered that are now doing cheap jobs and undercutting us to win the work. But what the customer doesn't realise is, you buy cheap, you buy twice type of thing. Are you with me? So what things could you talk about that's a topic of conversation within the trades or construction industry that shows your authority and you're not scared of coming out and talking about, apprenticeships as an example? 20 years ago, when they started cutting apprenticeships, I said in next 10 to 15 years, we are going to have a massive shortage of labour that's going to cause trouble in our industry. And look what's happened. And I talk about that. I'm not attacking government. I'm not attacking the people who made them decisions. I'm just saying, listen, we've got a shortage of labour. So how do we solve it? And right now, there's a topic of conversation with people saying, well, we need to bring labour in from other countries, right? Because they're prepared to work. Then you've got other people saying, no, we shouldn't be bringing people in from other countries. But how do we solve the problem? I don't know. But I'll talk about it. I'll not say this is the right way we need to go, but I'm not scared of popping my head up and saying, listen, we've got a problem. It needs solving. How do we solve it? So think about your trade. Think about your profession. Think about what happens in it and how can we build that content that, gives an opinion but shows you in an authoritative light. Now, if you go away and start to create these 6 pieces of content and you start to put them out on a daily basis, whether that is a video or a post, let's say on any of your social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, X, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever you're using, as long as you're consistent with it, you'll start to appeal to a larger target market. Now, last thing I'm going to wrap on this before we move on to step number 3 is this. The rule of thumb that I'm going to suggest that you start posting, right? And that is your personal branded content, like we're talking about now, should be 70%, right, of the content that you start to share. And only 30% of that needs to be, let's say, direct sales. So what I mean by that is sharing content, like I've just gone on through these six pieces of content. For every 10 pieces of content you put out there, 7 of them needs to be this type. And the other 3 is the type of content where you're a bit more direct sales, where you say, listen, if you're interested in a boiler, a consumer unit, a re-roof, click this link and, fill in our fact-find vetting form. That's a bit more direct, isn't it? It's not adding value, that. It's not showing your opinion. It's not educational. It's not personal content. It's not a video testimony. It's not behind the scenes. It's like direct sales, isn't it? So the ratio is 7 pieces of these 6 content, followed by 3 pieces of sales content, and they all need to be mixed up. Are you with me? That's the rule of thumb. Step number 3. Engage with your audience. Let me say it again. Engage with the audience. The secret to building a personal brand isn't going viral, right, with all your posts. You see all these people saying, oh, I can get your video to go viral. You need to sign up to my course and I'll teach you how to go viral. Listen, it's not about going viral, right? I've never had a viral video ever, right? In fact, I think the video that's got the most amount of views that I've ever put out is about 250,000, which is not viral. Viral is million plus, right? I've never had a million plus video go viral, but I don't need to, because I show up and I am consistent with all the posting and all the different types of contents and all the different types of media, whether it's podcasts, blogs, vlogs, videos. I create all this content, right? So I'm showing up on a consistent basis. But what I also do, which most, let's say, influencers or people that have built a personal brand don't seem to do, is engage with your audience, because your audience won't trust you overnight. Just because you start putting posts out, ideally tomorrow, around all this, doesn't mean to say that in 1 week's time you're going to get an avalanche of new leads coming into your business. It takes time. So you've got to show up over and over again, sharing valuable content, being real, being honest, being human and authentic. You've got to do this consistently. But again, it's like going back to what I said before about the compound effect. When you do things on a consistent basis, all of a sudden that snowball effect kicks in, it compounds, and then you get the result. Are you with me? So marketing your business, particularly across social media, is not a quick fix for anyone. There is no magic wand to marketing. I keep saying this. It takes time. And if you're consistent with it, you'll get there. But while you're being consistent, you must engage with your audience, or you're not being human. You're creating the content and you're putting it out there, but then you're saying to yourself, I haven't got time to engage, or I haven't got time to go back and strike up a relationship or rapport or answer any questions because I ain't got time. Well, you've got to make time, because creating the content and sharing it is only the first part of it. The second part of all this is to build up a relationship and get people to know, like, and trust you and have confidence in you. You've got to engage with your audience. You've got to comment. You've got to ask questions back. Now, let's just put this into some perspective for a second. And I shared this on Thursday evening's coaching session all on referral strategy. There are certain things that you can do in your business that are free, that don't cost you a penny, as in monetary value, right? And the reason why I'm mentioning referral strategy is introducing a referral strategy is free. All it does is take a bit of time to set it up. Once it's been set up, it'll run forever and you'll get more referrals. It's the same with social media. What I don't understand in today's day and age is social media is a free marketing tool that will get you personally in your business in front of the eyes of thousands, if not millions of people, if used correctly. It's absolutely free. It's ridiculous what social media can do. I have 4 businesses, and all 4 businesses have been built off the back of organic social media posting, right? So what I don't understand is when people say, I haven't got time for social media, I just don't get it. They're more than prepared to go and waste $3,000 on having a website built by a web designer who claims that they know what they're doing and they're going to get you to number 1 of Google and all that bullshit that 99% of web designers come out with, right? They're prepared to go and spend $3,000 on that. Or they're prepared to take a punt on, do you know what? I'll just randomly chuck 1,500 quid into Facebook or Google ads this month. I'll run it for a month and I'll keep my fingers crossed and pray and hope for the best that it's going to work. And it never does when you wing it. And you're going to waste another 1,500 quid, right? Or I'm going to join Checker Trade and I'm going to give them 300 quid a month and get nothing back. You're prepared to do all that and waste your money. But the single most powerful form of you generating leads are videos and social media. And if you're putting videos on social media, it's like putting it on steroids. Social media is free. All it does is take a little bit of time. And I don't understand how business owners in today's day and age don't understand this. and why they are not putting time in that side their default diaries every week to put blocks of time in to work on the marketing and the social media. Because if they did and they followed all my social media strategies, you'd probably never have to spend money on Facebook ads or anything like that, or check a trade. You'll be in control of your own lead generation. So what I'm sharing with you now around social media, it's free. So come on, let's grab it. I'm giving you the strategies here. Let's grab all this lot, roll the sleeves up and get stuck in. Okay? So engaging with your audience, it's not about just posting, it's about engaging. So how do we do all this? Well, I'm going to give you some prompts and some tips on what you need to be doing to raise that level of engagement up there, so you are sharing your value, you are being real and honest and human. And that's what people want to see. So number one, the first thing you've got to do is post consistently. And I mean this. And what I say is, if you can put a post out every day on social media, and let me just choose a couple of members that have sprung to mind. Inside our growth club, literally this week, we've got an electrician called Polly, right? Little Miss Electrical. Polly has gone on and just, for the last 3 months, just posted every day. And her insights and her stats have gone through the roof. And if she continues to do it, the compound effect's going to kick in and all them leads are going to start to flood in. And I do believe that's happening, right? So that's Polly has posted within the last week. We've then got Terry Matthews. He's a plumbing and heating engineer. He, for the last 3 months, has been creating content every single day. And I know Terry's in my inner circle, so I know the results he's getting him. He's getting leads now every single day for either boiler installs, boiler repairs, or boiler servicing. And it's gone nuts. Why? All they're doing is doing a post a day across either Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, X, right? One post a day across those platforms based on the content I've already shared in this episode. So you've got to be consistent. Worst case scenario, right? 5 posts a week. But if you're putting out less than 5 posts a week, then you're never going to get traction on your social media, okay? Number 2, every comment where people either ask you a question or leave a positive comment back, I want you to reply back to. The first thing you're going to do is like or love their comment or their reply. And what I want you to do is I want you to go back, maybe thank them for their reply. But when you're commenting back, I want you to ask them a question, right? So somebody might have said, do you know what, Craig? What you've just shared has been really good and it resonates with me. I won't just go, thanks, because what's the point of that? How can I build a relationship up by saying thanks? So I might say, oh, thanks, John. What part of my podcast resonated with you? And is there any other help that you need? What I'm now doing is I'm continuing that conversation. And maybe John might be too busy and he might not come back to me. But maybe he does and he might go, do you know what, Craig? Episode number 16, yeah? Your top 16 features that you need to add onto your website. You know, I'm not quite sure on what number 6 is. And I'll go, okay, so number 6 is blah, 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 blah. In fact, I've got another podcast, John, that can point me in the right direction of that. Here's the link. So what am I doing now? I'm being real. I'm adding value. I'm being honest. I'm being human. I'm interacting. I'm building relationships. I'm building rapport. I'm reinforcing my personal brand. So we've got to make sure that we start replying back to people, but use that little tip. Always ask them another question that starts off with one of these words. They're called open-ended questions. Starts with one of these words, right? What, when, why, where, who, or how. And look at what I do on social media in my posts, but also look at what I do in the comments. And you'll start to see a trend appearing, which is I'm always asking questions that start with what, when, why, where, who, or how. Because when you ask a question that starts with one of those 6 words, you're going to get an answer back. And that then starts the relationship. Now, number 3 is actually asking questions across your posts, right? Or across your videos. Because when you ask a question at the beginning of a post or a video, you're not going to get a yes or no answer back, right? And one of the examples here I use is when I do the sales training with the Growth Club members. And let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about here. If you give someone a quote and you follow that quote up and you say these words, "Oh, Mrs. Jones, it's Craig Wilkinson calling from X business. I'm just ringing you to make sure that you received our quote," right? Because you're following it up. I mean, what the point is asking that question? You know they've received the quote because you freaking emailed it to them and you WhatsApped it to them and you automated text it to them in a link. So you know they've got the quote. So why ask a question that's going to prompt a no or yes answer? Because if they say yes, which you know they've already got it anyway, all right, you knew that. So how has that helped the conversation? It's not. But if I change that question to this, "Mrs. Jones, Craig Wilkinson from XY company, what did you think to our quote?" She can't answer yes and she can't answer no. She's got to tell me what she thought of my quote. And when she tells me what she thinks of the quote, I might have to deal with a few objections. Are you with me? So the quality of the question determines the quality of the answer. And what I do is I take that and I put that into all my posting. So start to ask questions that are relevant to your business, that are relevant to your target market, that starts off with what, when, why, where, who, or how. And step number 4 in this is be patient, right? I've already alluded to that there isn't a single marketing strategy on the planet that's going to give you leads instantly, that's proven to work. Don't get me wrong, Google ads, Facebook ads, perhaps, can instantly start to get you leads. But how do you know they're going to work? You don't. So you're gambling, right? Everything we do when it comes to marketing is going to take time, including building a personal brand, shooting videos, using social media to put the video content out there. It's going to take time. But the sooner you start doing this, the sooner the results are going to come. And what I want you to be aware of is this. 15 years ago, I was doing all this. 15 years ago. As a joiner, building loft conversions and extensions for a living, 15 years ago, I was doing all this. Now, as you know, I don't have a loft conversion and building company anymore. I built it, I grew it, I sold it, and it set me and my family up for life. But nevertheless, there are people out there now that are doing exactly the same as what you do for a trade in your area that you want to be working in that will be doing this. Now, I'm not saying they were doing it 15 years ago because I'm always one step ahead of every curve anyway. It's just the way I am. But there'll be people out there that's been doing it for a decade. There'll be people that have been doing it for 5 years. There'll be people that have been doing it for 5 months. The point is, they're ahead of you. And like I only said earlier on this episode, that The younger generation aren't using Google like you might use, or your parents might have used, right? Or your friends or family are using, because Google is becoming old school marketing, right? They're using different mediums. And if you're not on them different mediums, then you're never going to get the new nucleus of customers moving forward in years to come. Now, I don't have the building company anymore, but I teach everything I am teaching you on this episode, I do in all my businesses, and it works. So it doesn't matter what trade, industry, sector or profession you belong to or you're in, you need a personal brand. And when you think of people such as Richard Branson, Mark Zuckerberg, we know who these people are. These people are introverts. They are people that don't want to be in the limelight. There are people that aren't really that confident. Believe it or not, Richard Branson and Mark Zuckerberg aren't like out there. What they do understand, though, is personal branding. And if they didn't have a personal brand, then they wouldn't have been able to get their businesses to where they are today. And when I mentioned the name Richard Branson, I reckon you will know what, I'm not going to tell you what it is because I think you know what it is. You will know what Richard Branson's main business is called. Using the name Mark Zuckerberg, I'm pretty sure that you'll know what his business is called. But if I said to you, who is the CEO or the founder of Marks and Spencer's, or who is the founder or the CEO of B&Q, you won't be able to tell me because they haven't got the personal brands. So the people that build the personal brands, they understand that they can then take that brand into other businesses and other areas and other ventures. Look at Richard Branson on what he's done. He's got cans of pop. He's got an airline. He's got trains. He's got travel. He's got all sorts going off under that brand. But the only reason why he's got it is because whatever he sets up and does, people will follow him because he's got a personal brand. So Branson, Zuckerberg, me, we've had to learn how to be extroverts, not introverts. We've had to learn this because we know the power of personal branding. And you need to do the exact same before it's too late. So your action task from this episode is literally to go and start at step number 1 and start planning out what your story, values and messages are. Just get them all out of your head and get it all down on paper. Then move on to step number 2, right? And start showing up with the right type of content. So then what type of content out of those 6 examples I gave you, you're going to start to create first? And then what I want you to do is get posting, get creating the content, which would then move you on to step number 3, which is engage with your audience. But again, the sooner you start with this, the better it's going to be for you personally and as a business. And the more you do it, the more confident and comfortable you are. The first time I started shooting videos 15 years ago, I mean, I do actually share some of them original videos that I've still got that are still on YouTube, actually. Some of them videos I share in my inner circle, and I play a few videos and go, look, this is me 15 years ago. Look how bad the quality, and look how young I look, actually, right? And then I say, right, that's that video 15 years ago. Now watch this video that I shot last week, and it's like night and day. But the only reason why I've got to that point is I've not let limiting beliefs hold me back from achieving the success that I believe I deserve and my family deserve. And I don't want you holding your own business back and putting obstacles in yourself for some limiting belief that you've got around you can't do this. You can do this. Anybody can do it as long as they're passionate and they've got the drive and the motivation to succeed. So Your personal branding is your biggest competitive advantage. It costs nothing but time, and it'll pay you back in generating better leads, bringing in more work, building a stronger, more professional team. And also, don't forget, there's new business opportunities that comes with this that most tradespeople will never get because they've stayed invisible. 2 things I want to quickly leave you on. Number 1 is, don't forget, you can come over and join our Trades Freedom Club's Growth Club and join all of our other professional trades and construction business owners that are getting daily content like this provided for them, and personal one-to-one and group coaching from myself on a weekly basis. All that you can get access to now for less than a cup of coffee that you might buy this morning at Costa. Click the link in the description and show notes to join our Growth Club. The second thing is, come and join our thriving free Facebook group and community, because just being part of our community and seeing my values, morals, standards, beliefs, mission all brought into a free Facebook group where you can experience all this, you can get for free inside our Facebook group. Again, the link to join our Facebook group is in the show notes and the description. And remember, for things to change, you have to change, or all you'll ever have in your pocket is change. I'll catch up with you on next week's episode, and I'll meet you at the top. Thank you.